We'll explore three crucial goals from the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, also known as the SDG, that aim to transform our world. The first that we choose is SDG 4, Quality Education, second is SDG 6, Clean Water and Sanitation, and lastly is SDG 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities. In this presentation, we will break down the problems these goals address, their importance, real-world examples, challenges, global local impact, and what actions each of us can take to contribute to achieving these goals. SDG 4 aims to reduce the worldwide inequality in education, as millions of children lack access to adequate learning opportunities. This is due to reasons such as poverty, geographical barriers, gender discrimination, and under-resourced educational institutions. The goal is to remove these barriers and promote inclusive and equitable education for all, from elementary school through lifelong learning. Quality education is critical because it is a key tool for breaking the cycle of poverty and promoting sustainable development. Education empowers people by equipping them with knowledge and skills, which leads to better economic possibilities, less inequality, and more social mobility. It is also associated with improved health outcomes, greater gender equality, and higher political participation. As such, SDG 4 is critical to accomplishing other global objectives such as better health, economic prosperity, and peace. Ensuring quality education for all, regardless of background or circumstances, is critical to creating a more equitable, just world. Globally, many children who do not have access to education continue to face severe circumstances. According to UNESCO, around 258 million children and youth were out of school in 2021, with a large proportion coming from sub-Saharan Africa, where roughly 1 in every 4 children is not enrolled in school. Gender gaps are especially prevalent in some parts of the world, where females face additional barriers to education due to cultural norms, early marriage, and safety concerns. The COVID-19 pandemic worsened these concerns, causing schools to closure for nearly 1.6 billion students, disproportionately affecting low-income children and those living in conflict zones. These interruptions have a long-term consequences for literacy, life skills, and economic possibilities, in addition to lost schooling. The lack of access to education is a major issue, with many children unable to attend school due to distance, safety concerns, or a lack of facilities. Furthermore, the quality of education is frequently inadequate, with antiquated teaching techniques, unskilled teachers, and insufficient resources. Girls, children, and impairments and refugees are among the most marginalized populations in terms of education. Global impact. A lack of enough education has significant consequences. For example, it hinders economic development since those lacking skills are less likely to enter the labor force or contribute to economic progress. Educational inequality reinforces poverty cycles and inhibits social mobility. Local impact. A lack of education has an influence on the well-being of individuals and communities. For example, children in conflict zones or rural areas frequently miss out on education, resulting in lower literacy rates and fewer job possibilities. Girls who are excluded from education may risk early marriage and economic reliance, which has an impact on gender equality. Individuals can help SDG 4 by advocating for more education funding and assisting local schools in need of resources. Volunteering time or skills to mentor or assist kids has a direct impact on their academic performance. Communities can also encourage inclusive education by ensuring that excluded groups, such as those with disabilities, have equitable access to educational opportunities.
Clean water and sanitation are fundamental human rights. Without them, 850,000 people die each year and entire nation's economy are compromised. S- SDG 6 addresses the lack of access to clean water, sanitation, and proper hygiene service, which includes both the physical scarcity of water resources and the inadequate infrastructure for delivering these services to communities, particularly in rural and low-income areas. The global economy suffers $260 billion loss annually. Water and sanitation are basic human needs. Lack of access to safe drinking water and sufficient sanitation contributes to the spread of waterborne infections, malnutrition, and poor health outcomes. Particularly in developing nations without water, people are unable to grow food, maintain cleanliness, or carry out daily activities. Poor sanitation contribute to environmental contamination, which harm ecosystems and biodiversity. According to the United Nations, around 2.2 billion people worldwide lack access to safe drinking water, while 4.2 billion lack sanitary services in countries like India polluted water sources cause regular epidemics of waterborne infections. The, the Flint water crisis in the United States also demonstrates how water safety concerns may affect even developed countries. In 2022, 57% of the global population, or nearly or 4.6 billion people, utilize a safely managed sanitation service, while 33% or 2.7 billion people use private sanitation facilities connected to sewers that treated wastewater. According to WHO or WHO and UNICEF, 3 out of every 10 people or 2.1 billion still lacks access to safe drinking water, whether from household or public taps, bottled water deliveries, rainwater wells, or contaminant. Pre-natural springs. E- Every day, 700 children under the age of 5 die of diarrhea. That is approximately one child every 2 minutes. If you read if you read at an average speed, 11 children will have died by the end of this brief. Water pollution from industrial and agricultural runoff, combined with climate change, worsens, worsens water scarcity and contamination, rapid urbanization and population expansion add to the stress on water infrastructure, resulting in a clean water deficit. These challenges lead to increased health risks and environmental damage affecting both local and global communities. A lack of clean water and sanitation adds to the global health burden, resulting in millions of deaths and chronic illness every year. Waterborne infections also impede economic development since they cause people to miss work or education. Water scarcity impacts agriculture, food production, and global supply system. Local impact. Communities without access to clean water frequently experience economic hardship, increased health costs, and loss of life. For example, in sub-Saharan Africa, women and children are frequently compelled to spend hours fetching water, restricting their time for education or earning a living. Individuals can save water by utilizing it properly and reducing waste in regular activities such as laundry and cooking. Number 2. Communities can advocate for improved sanitation in infrastructure and educate people on hygiene and safe water practices. Number 3. Supporting sustainable farming and advocating for water policies can contribute to long-term water supply and quality.
SDG 11 addresses the difficulties of growing urbanization, which results in overcrowded cities, insufficient infrastructure, and environmental damage. Many cities struggle to provide essential amenities such as clean water, sanitation, and affordable housing. The goal is to develop more sustainable, inclusive, and resilient urban cities. As urban populations rise, cities put more strain on resources, infrastructure, and the environment. By 2050, 68% of the world's population is predicted to reside in cities, making sustainable urban development more important than ever. Without action, these urban concerns have the potential to increase inequality, poverty, and effects of climate change. Over 1 billion people live in informal settlements around the world, where they lack access to essential amenities and face dangerous living conditions. Severe air pollution in cities such as New Delhi and Sao Paulo causes health calamities. In some areas, cities struggle with limited housing, leaving millions without access to clean and safe shelter. SDG 11 addresses challenges such as overcrowding, environmental pollution, and unequal access to services. Rapid urbanization stresses infrastructure and promotes the rise of slums. These issues lead to poor air quality, not enough housing, and increasing vulnerability to climate change effects such as flooding and extreme temperatures. Global impact: unsustainable urbanization increases environmental degradation, diminishes biodiversity, and causes social instability. It also contributes to global warming by consuming energy and producing garbage. Local impact: cities that do not adopt sustainable practices have traffic congestion, resource scarcity, poor public health, and increased inequality. This has an impact on people's daily lives by limiting their access to opportunities and a good standard of living. People can lower environmental impact by taking public transportation, walking, or cycling. Supporting urban gardening and recycling programs can assist to reduce trash and promote sustainability. Participating in community activities to promote improve urban planning can help cities become more fair and resilient.
In conclusion, SDGs 4, 6, and 11 tackled critical challenges related to education, clean water, and sustainable cities. Quality education, or the SDG 4, empowers individuals and promotes equity, while access to clean water and sanitation, the SDG 6, is vital for health and economic stability. Sustainable cities, for SDG 11, address urbanization's strain on infrastructure and the environment. These issues impact communities globally and locally, contributing to inequality and environmental harm. However, through advocacy, sustainable practice, and local initiatives, individuals and communities can help create a more equitable, healthy, and sustainable world for all. That's all. Thank you.